Hi there, I'm Miriam and welcome to Miriam's Manor. If this is your first time joining me today, welcome. Most of the content that I create is about Christmas villaging, but I also do home decor and a little bit of gardening. If you are used to hanging out with me, welcome back, family. Today, I am going to be walking you guys through how I choose new buildings for my Christmas village, what I decide to purchase each year, and what is not worth it for me at this stage in the game. So if you want to hear more about it, stay tuned. Now, before I jump off into my whole big old list in what I do want to say this for those of you who are just getting started. My first 2 years when I first started Christmas villaging, I was not picky at all about which buildings I could get my hands on. I purchased my first 2 Limax pieces from Michaels, and it was the Popcorn Factory and the Fountain. And a lot for the next year were pieces that I was able to purchase used. And I was so thankful that I was able to find additional Limax pieces because my budget at the time just didn't allow me to expand my village in the way that I would have liked to purchasing retail. So I went to the Goodwill stores, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and things like that, and always was able to find beautiful Department 56 and Limax pieces that I used to grow my village. Now, there was a caveat to doing it that way. If you are wanting to create a village all within the same series, none of the buildings were from the same series or the same year. Some were newer, like 2015 when I started at the time, and others were from like 2000. So I picked pieces that I felt like still went well with each other though, and purchased what I could to grow my village. By the time I got to year 3, I had a decent amount of buildings. So at that point, I decided to be a lot more selective on how I was going to purchase buildings going forward. Not only that, I had completely changed my village style by the time I got to year 3. And what I mean by that is year 3 was when I started making all of my platforms. It's the year that I made my first mountain. The first few years that I started villaging, I did the traditional snow, flat, no elevation, just putting the snow blanket down, trying to hide cords and things like that. And then every year that just went on from there, I tried to make more realistic landscapes for my Christmas village pieces and accessories. So at year 3, I had really started scene developing. And what I mean by that is I began to actually create a neighborhood. I began to actually have a town square and parks, business districts, civic centers, things like that. Just different scenes, what I call scenes, throughout my village that were actually parts of towns and communities. And by doing that, I needed to focus more on those types of buildings for those types of scenes. So now, today, when I choose buildings, what I do first is look at my entire layout, decide what area of my village do I want to expand? What area of my village maybe do I want to add a new scene? And from there, that's really going to tell me what I'm going to be purchasing or picking out for that year's Christmas village. And so I shared the video with you guys a few weeks ago on my Limax unboxing and what Limax sent me. And few of those pieces were for my vineyard area to really build up the retail offerings around the vineyard. And so that is going to be my focus for this year. Once those things are established and I know what I'm going to be focusing on for the year, then I actually fine tune it into my building selection. And the very first thing that I focus on is movement. Movement brings your village to life, and it adds a level of realism to the village that still pieces just cannot. Because if we're trying to create a city moves. Trees move, people move, things move around it. And there are so many amazing moving pieces that are on the market now today that are being added every single year that we can purchase to bring our villages to life. The other thing that I really love about a moving piece is, especially if you have something kind of tucked off in a corner, the movement will naturally draw your eye to that spot that you're wanting someone to highlight. So even if you've got it like in a little grove and it's a really nice little like secluded, tucked off area, that moving piece will catch the eye and draw you into that little secret space. Or if it's something that's just right out front and it's bold and it's catching the eye immediately, we're all drawn to movement within a village. And it's one of the first things that we notice when we are surveying our own villages, but also when we visit other villages or we're looking at them online. You can notice that some of the villages that you might be looking at online, one of the things that catches us most or draws us to that village are the moving pieces within that Christmas village. And there's such a beautiful detail to highlight. So I want to also give you guys some examples of what I mean, especially for those of you who are just getting started. I am going to put a few buildings up on the screen that highlight this so well. This is a perfect example of what I am talking about. There are so many moving parts on this building. Let's start at the top with this cute little elf spinning around. And then you have the Christmas chocolatier sign that is moving. And if we come straight on down some more, you've got chocolates going into the chocolate truffle factory. Over here to the right, more movement going around this way. And coming down, this is spinning inside of this window here. And then off to the left, the little elves going in and out. So this is just such a beautiful example of a moving piece that definitely makes a statement in the village. Focus number 2 when I decide to purchase a new building is the lighting. Now, as humans, our eyes are naturally drawn to light. And it is so beautiful when we can get a building that is specially lit like this. Most Christmas Village buildings just have the bulbs that end up illuminating all of the windows in the building. However, it is so much more fun when we can see lighting like this, like Christmas lights strung along the roof lines of buildings. When we also have spotlights that are working and actually highlight signs or plaques on the building, or just the details that you might otherwise miss, especially in the evening when you're looking at your village. These appropriately placed spotlights highlights a portion of the building that the designer is wanting you to focus on that can sometimes be missed when the lights are up during the day. So during the evening times, it's fun to go look at the buildings with a different point of view and see what your eye is naturally drawn to because of the light. So these are fun details, as well as there are buildings with working coach lights on them, which are just so darling that they're starting to build. And so these are the type of lighting aspects that I look for. Now, if I can find a piece that has movement as well as specialty lighting like this, for me, it's done and done. I am buying it or I am picking it if Lemax is offering it for me in the little building selections that they allow me to choose, because both of those things together are definitely statement pieces within your village. Okay, so focus number 3. If I cannot find the type of building that I need for a particular scene that has movement or specialty lighting, the next thing that I look at are the windows. Is there something going on inside of this building that I can visibly see through the windows that is going to give me that extra special little detail? So, for example, in this library here off to the side, it has bookshelves and a table and all the cute little things that belong in the library that is allowing me to see in through this open window. Also, with this bubble factory, there's all different types of soaps and things like that that I can look at within the actual building. And there's all these special little details that I can see within the windows of the buildings. And along with the windows, I also look at what's going on around the base of the items. Are there signs out front that are actually 3-dimensional? Are there topiaries, flowers, trees, dogs, people? Are there just other moving pieces on the front of the buildings other than just the base of the building that will help add some dimension to my building? Because when you choose buildings that have things in the front of them, it creates less work for you on the end trying to make sure you're adding all of those details yourself to the landscape. So then the buildings that don't have those things, you can focus more of your little accessory pieces, your little tree topiaries that we buy, or the little planters with the flowers in them, and all of those extra special little touches can then go to a building that's kind of sparse on the front side. And lastly, I look at the architecture of the building and if there are any special details on the outside of the building. I can tell you one of my favorite buildings for either a business district or town square area is this restaurant here from Department 56. I love the Christmas tree topiaries in the front of this building. I love the design of this building, the architecture of this building. I think it's stunning and I think it was well done and very well put together. And some other examples of really cute buildings is this coffee grinder. This is a Lemax piece. You can see the grinding wheel on the side of this building, which is just so darling. And then all of the little details that are added to the front of this piece, like the little coffee cup with the steaming coffee. And there's just so many details to look at on this building. Another example is this Department 56 piece that is the Music Emporium. And the whole side of this building is like a sheet of music, which is just so appropriate for what the building is. So then I look for things like that when I am focusing on building selection. So just to recap with you guys, my number one focus is always going to be movement. My second focus is going to be specialty lighting. My third focus is what's going on inside of the windows as well as on the outside of that base. And fourth is the architecture of the building and the unique features that are added to the building. So I hope that this helps you, especially for those of you who are just getting started in Christmas villaging and you want to have a certain look to your village and you want to make sure that you can incorporate all of these things that we talked about today to take your village to the next level. If you haven't done so already, please give me a big thumbs up for this video. I do greatly appreciate it, and it does really help me. Leave me a comment if you have any questions on anything. Also, I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that you look for when you're buying your village pieces? Put that in the comment section below, especially because we have a large group of people who read the comments. So your feedback helps those who are reading, especially our newer villagers who have a lot more questions about this kind of stuff. So let's really pull together and put that information in the comment section for our village community here. You can become a member of my channel by clicking on the link in the description box of this video. It'll take you to the Join tab that will be in blue, and then you will be able to read about the different levels of membership that I offer here on my channel and what perks come along with each offering. So thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me today. Until I see you again, stay safe, God bless you, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.